Alright, welcome to episode 3 of my How to Stop Hating Tekken 8 Characters video series thing. Today we're talking about Dragunov. Dragunov, the Russian bitch, the white angel of being a bitch. This guy, I'm gonna be fully honest with everybody right off the bat. I know the series is called How to Stop Hating These Characters, but I still hate Dragunov. So this video is just as much for me as it is for you guys. But Dragunov is a fucking ridiculous character. He's been nerfed into the fucking ground as of patch 1.04, and he got slightly more nerfed in patch 1.05 because the throw tracking is gone now, right? So they only standard throws are homing now. These are not homing. As you can see, they don't have homing properties attached to them. So the command throws no longer are homing, which is part of what made Dragunov so strong, because his tracking in general when it comes to his regular moves, not all that great. And that's pretty much been his weakness since he started this fucking franchise. Dragunov's always had really poor tracking. So that's how we combat him. But what kind of character is he? He's a rushdown character. He is an aggressive bulldog character that just wants to be constantly in your face, kicking the shit out of you with plus frames and chip damage and basically never making it your turn. He was ridiculous for doing this in previous iterations of Tekken 8 up until patch 1.04. This character was the strongest character in the game and absolutely fucking brain dead to play. Now, he's still top fucking tier despite being nerfed. So how do you deal with him? Now that he's nerfed, and I would say fairly balanced, albeit extremely strong, he could definitely use a few more nerfs, and we'll talk about that as we go along here. Let's just start throwing some shit out. So the one that we got selected right now is While Running 2. You're gonna see people do this shit at all ranks because that's Dragunov's best move. It's fucking ridiculous. It's really good damage on hit, and it's +4 on block. Used to be +6 on block, but now it's only +4, so we can do things after we get we block that move. But you want to avoid it in general, so we're gonna want to sidestep Dragunov to the left. And despite this move being beaten by sidestep left, it's actually a little trickier than you think. You have to pre-anticipate that they're about to... It still has a little bit of tracking. I'm not pressing anything. This move has a little bit of tracking. You have to be very specific with the sidestep. You cannot preemptively sidewalk left at the beginning. You have to sidestep appropriately. So if I start sidewalking now, he's just going to clip me. He's going to realign, he's going to clip me. But if I time the sidestep perfectly, it's going to be good. But it needs to be a sidewalk. Slight sidewalk, as you can tell right here. Unless you have a perfect sidestep, you're better off with a very slight sidewalk. As long as you time it right. So now I get Dragunov's back. And now I get a full punish. So that's While Running 2. That's his best tool. It's you can't really argue that he has a better move than While Running 2. And the move that you use in tandem with that move is this bitch right here. Down 2. Down 2 is an extremely good low because it tracks to both sides quite a lot. Now, look at that shit. And now it's not homing. Not quite homing because, there you go. If I have a perfect sidestep and I'm hella preemptive with that shit and he's slightly off axis when he goes for down 2, then, you know, you can sidestep it. But it's basically homing. It pretty much is. And what is so good about this move? Well, it high crushes. It's got pretty decent damage for a low. And if I were to try to do a counter hit, try to do something that's come on, bitch. If I get counter hit by this low, then it's +13 on hit. And it's only -13 on block, so only Kazuya can launch this. Not even Eddie gets to launch this shit. Only Kazuya can launch this. Eddie also has a 13 frame while standing launcher, but only for certain moves that are -13 and leave you in crouch. Kazuya can launch everything that is -13 and leaves you in crouch. So against Dragunov, Kazuya's got a pretty strong defense against this bullshit. But down 2 is still fantastic. It tracks really well to both sides. It high crushes everything. It has decent damage. It's got pretty decent range. Like, it doesn't, you can just throw that shit out and it's just a great fucking move at all times. And then if you're lucky enough to get a counter hit, you get plus fucking 13. So really, you can just spam down 2 and while running 2 all day, and you've got a lot of mileage with the character already. And those are just 2 fucking moves. But what about his entire other arsenal? He has insane moves. We already kind of went over what he excels at. He's a rushdown character, a bulldog character. You know, he's really good at getting up in your face and he's getting plus frames and retaining his turn for the entire fucking match. He dictates the every round that you're in. So this is a reason why Dragunov, in my opinion, is still top 10 best characters in the game, despite being heavily nerfed. So the typical counterplay for Dragunov when you're standing in his face is you're gonna sidestep him right. So let's talk more about sidesteppable moves right now. Sidestep right or sidewalk right is typically the answer for Dragunov when he's in your face. When he's at this distance, you want to sidestep left for the reason we already explained earlier with the while running 2. You got to sidestep that one left. You need to mix it up with this character. You don't always want to just sidestep him right, even in his face either, because he has moves that will clip you if you sidestep him right all day long. While running 2 is one of them, down forward 1 is the other one. But what about moves that you can sidestep? So he's gonna do, I have Dragunov set to do a move that's really frustrated out of the sneak step. Sneak 4. This move is insane. For reasons that you just see there. It's a heat engager. Look at the chip damage it does in heat. It's a launcher on hit when he's in heat. And it tracks the sidestep left. So you'll get fucked if you try to sidestep this shit left. Because the very ending of the hitbox clips it. But you can always sidestep this move right. Even if you eat the full crouch down forward 1-4, you can always sidestep his kick to the right. Boom. Sidestep right into block. And you got all day to react and see what he does here. Yeah, there you go. So, it's not that bad to deal with, but it gets a little trickier when he starts mixing shit up by adding in this little extension here. So, you can sidestep the kick right all the way, no problem. But if he adds in the slide, like you see there, sidestep right is going to be a little bit more difficult for you, because you can't actually sidestep the slide to the right. So what's the answer here? You gotta be very specific with a sidestep right into an immediate duck, crouch block, and good fucking luck with that. It's very difficult. So I'm getting it a couple of times, but it's very tight. The timing is very difficult. And you're gonna really have to get used to this. So laugh the shit out of this, but it's not exactly something that's practical that you should use in a match. So virtually every time you see full crouch down forward 1-4, you're gonna want to go with what your opponent has shown you that they're doing. Do they like to do sneak 4 afterwards, or do they do the slide, or do they do other moves? Sidestep right is a good option for Dragunov in all scenarios, as we already talked about a second ago. Sidestep right in his face. Range 3-ish, you want to sidestep or sidewalk Dragunov to the left always, because he can't really threaten you with anything except while running 2 from this range. So back 1+2 at the wall is a ridiculous move that he's got, this move here. It's +6 on block. Very oppressive. It's just a typical Dragunov bullshit move. 22 frames to impact, so it's not that slow, not that fast. Pretty in between. You kind of have to get a hard read on Dragunov if you're going to try to avoid this move, but you can really step it to either direction. Sidestep right is a little easier than sidestep left, I think. It's a little more forgiving, but you can step it quite convincingly to either direction. You have to be aware that your opponent is going for this. Like, you have to get a pretty solid read on him. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still going to be able to track you from a certain distance. So, but for the most part, it's pretty linear. Sidestep left, it tracks very, very slightly. Tracks very, very slightly to sidestep right, but it's almost not very, it's not even really noticeable. So back 1+2, you can sidestep either way. Sidewalk, I would say, is probably preferable. A small sidewalk. You know, nothing too major. Just that. That's enough. Don't do this all fucking day and get his back. You know, then the animation will be over and you'll miss the punish and then you're fucked. So, it's another move that he uses a lot against the wall that's super oppressive that you can sidestep out of the way of. So, just keep that in mind because that is the counterplay to that move at the wall. Other than that, you pretty much just want to interrupt him if you think he's gonna go for that. But if he hits you with a back 1+2, you're at -6. You don't necessarily want to go for a jab interrupt in case he goes for a down forward 1-4 and splats you against the wall with a counter hit. You know, so that's why interrupting or doing power crushes is not necessarily the best state of play in that scenario. Sidestepping will almost always be your better option. So stick with that for that move. And the other move I want to talk about sidestepping that we're going to discuss a couple of counterplay options for is down back 3+4 is hatchet kick. Ridiculous move still. Very, very strong move. Look at the damage it does. It's 20 frames to impact, so it's pretty freaking fast. The range is not horrible, although the range got heavily nerfed. Thank fuck for that, man. The range on this move was absurd before. Now it staggers on block for -31. Which, you know, like, that's how it always fucking should be. But it was -15 before patch 1.05. And I'm so glad they fixed this. It was +7 on hit before, now it's +3. So we still have options. We can still do something after this move after it connects, you're okay. But if you get counter hit, then he gets 2, guaranteed. So just be aware of that. But the hatchet kick, you can sidestep this. It's tricky to do, and I don't recommend it, but you can sidestep it right. If you know he's going to go for it, I mean, you're already going to be sidestepping Dragunov or sidewalking Dragunov to the right for a good chunk of his moves when you're in his face. So if you think he's going to go for something like that, it's okay to try a preemptive sidewalk right and then, you know, deal with him. But always, if you think he's going to go for it and you have a pretty confident read, just go with the block and then launch punish him for it. But it's a very good move. Dragunov players still spam it, even though it's launch punishable by the entire cast now. It's a hatchet kick that hits grounded and has decent tracking to both sides and not the worst range in the world, and it's pretty fast. So it's still a really good low. It might not be as good as, you know, down 2. Down 2 is his best low now, I would say. But it's still +3 on hit, and it gives you a follow-up guaranteed hit on counter hit. So, I don't know, it's a good move, and you should watch out for it. But just know that you can either block that or sidestep it right, and you're good to go. You know, that's pretty much his key tools for sidestepping. Let's see what we can talk about for the key tools that he'll use in pretty much every rank of play, all the way up to blue. Even low gold ranks will use some of these moves. And we're going to figure out how to duck some of his strings. So let's see what he's got. So the main one where every player needs to duck and launch this shit. Fucking down forward 1-4 is ridiculous. It's a delayable string that counter hit launches, right? If the second hit is a counter hit, if I say I'm playing like a high blue rank player, this has happened to me many, many times. I'm playing, say, a Bushin or Tekken King or Tekken Emperor rank player, and they do down forward 1. And then I go to jab check them right after the down forward 1 is over, but my jab gets gobbled up by the 4 follow-up because I'm not anticipating that a player in that rank is going to finish the string, because almost everyone at, you know, high blue gold ranks is going to be ducking and launching this on reaction every friggin' time, no question about it. So, to finish the string, even at high purple ranks, is a very risky thing to do. But a lot of Dragunov players will try to do it, and they'll try to delay it as well, because if you do get the duck, if they've seen that you can duck it, and they know that you're going to duck and attempt a launch punish immediately, you know, duck into twin pistons. Boom, I got the twin pistons. Now he knows that I'm going to go for that every time. So he's going to start delaying that shit. And I'm going to go for my duck, and I'm going to go for the twin pistons again after I see the down forward 1. But his 4 is delayed, so my twin pistons are going to get counter hit, and I'm going to get launched for it. So it's a pretty decent string. So make sure that if you ever see the down forward 1, your immediate response should be, duck this shit. And if he doesn't finish the string, then you know, okay, he's probably not going to use down forward 1, 4, so what I could do instead is sidestep. I can sidestep this move left, sure. In fact, I can sidestep the entire string by just doing one little sidestep. The entire, look at that, I didn't even hold back. I didn't even block there. I'm just doing one little sidestep. But that's risky, because a lot of Dragunov's moves track the sidestep left, so you really have to get a hard read on his down forward 1 there. So just duck immediately after he does the down forward 1 the first time you see it, and if he doesn't finish the string, try interrupting with a jab check after he finishes down forward 1 next time, and see what he does there. But always remember to duck that string. That's the most important thing. This is a really famous one. Everybody knows this fucking string. This is the noob killer string. Why is it a noob killer? Why does everybody seem to have a hard time dealing with this shit? Well, because it leaves him in +1. The final hit is +1, so if Dragunov wants to, he can get a jab check on me, and I can't do anything about it. The only thing I can do is dick jab to retaliate, but if he wanted to, he can dick jab, and he'll beat out my dick jab, because he's +1. So back 4, 2, 1 is actually a pretty solid string and really good for killing everybody up to like red ranks. Nobody knows how to deal with that string. But if you can see there, you can duck the last hit. It's a high, so duck that shit and launch him for it. It's a necessity. You have to do this shit every time. Now, he also has this string, back 4, 3. This one is a little trickier to deal with because back 4, 2, 1 exists, and that's a scary string. Just make sure that as soon as you see the 4 is going to come out, and just observe what he's doing here. Okay, my opponent has done back 4, 3 like 5 times now. I'm scared of back 4, 2, but I should still duck this shit. Duck and launch this shit. You can fuzzy duck, but we're not going to be talking about fuzzy guarding in this video. Fuzzy guarding is a bit higher level play, and this video is not tailored to people who are going to be learning fuzzy guarding anytime soon. This video is tailored to people who are struggling beating Dragunov in, yellow to fucking blue ranks. So just be aware of that. Fuzzy guarding is a thing with this string and the other one that I showed you earlier, back 4, 2, 1, but that takes a lot of practice, and we're just trying to discuss the basic counterplay right now. So the basic counterplay for this shit is exactly what you're seeing here. Dragunov is pretty ridiculous with his strings, and the ones that he has available are all very, very strong, but there's healthy and not that difficult of counterplay available for all of them. Whether it's ducking the strings or sidestepping the moves in general, knowing which way to sidestep Dragunov is huge, and the fact that he doesn't have a whole lot of tracking in both directions for a lot of moves. He either has to commit to a move that tracks fully on one side or tracks fully on the other side. Down 2 is a bit of an exception there, that's why it's such a good move. But besides that one move, his tracking is very, very one way or the other. Especially since his throw game is gone now, pretty much. I mean, it's not gone. It still very much exists, and it's very good, but it's not what it used to be. We'll talk about the throws now. So Dragunov has a perfect throw game. You have to press the correct button. His 1+2, 1 and 2 break throws are all command throws, so none of them are homing anymore, which kind of nerfs his tracking again, right? Like what we were just talking about. A lot of the time with players, they would do a move into, like, I don't know, full crouch down forward 1-4, for example, into his 1+2 throw, because it would track you both sides. So even if you're sidestepping right to avoid sneak 4, that +7 on block kick that we talked about that's total bullshit and should not have any tracking to either side whatsoever, but it fucking does. So whatever, devs, do your thing, I guess. Eat dicks too. Basically, his tracking is gone because, as you can see here, he's got a perfect throw game. You know, there's a 1+2, there's the 1, there's the 1+2. I ate the 1+2 throw. Yeah, so he has all the throws, but they don't track anymore. So he's top tier as far as, you know, the throw game is concerned, because not very many characters have a perfect throw game like that. Kazuya certainly doesn't. I've got my standard throws, but I only have 1+2 throws for my command throws, right? So Dragunov, if you main Dragunov, you're already in a much better, you have a much bigger advantage than characters that don't have that perfect throw game, because you always have a perfect throw game to fall back on. So I really highly recommend, if you're wanting to learn how to properly break throws, I've said this in past videos, and I've even made a video on how to break throws. I can post that right here for anybody who wants to fucking check out that video on how to actually break throws. So what I recommend to do here is do the throw drills with Dragunov, because his 1 and his 2 throws are actually 11 frames to impact, which means you have even less time to react to them than you would a typical other command throw by most of the other characters. 11 frame throws are not that common, and Dragunov has 2 of them. So another reason why his throw game is so good, his throws are not only a perfect throw game, but he's got fast throws as well. So you really have to be on point and just go through the motions. Get into practice mode. Set Dragunov to do just the let's just get him to do one throw. See what he's doing on screen and constantly break the throw. Don't just mash 1. Like, don't just do this all the time because you know it's coming out. No. Wait until you see the throw, identify the throw, and then press the corresponding break. Now, once you got really used to that one, add the other throws in. Or add one more throw in anyways. There's the 2 throw now. So now, every time you see his right arm come out, you're gonna break the 2 throw. There. It's not that hard when he's only got 2 throws, right? Now let's add the 3rd one in. This is when shit gets tight. So I'm probably going to eat a bunch of them now. Because you have 3 options. It's a 33% chance if you're just guessing. So you really gotta... Yeah, see, the 2 and the 1+2 throws fuck me up. They always... Yeah, fine, press 2 there. They look similar to me just because of the arm that Dragunov grabs with. But you really should just be looking at his body. His body doesn't turn at all when he does the 1+2 throw, but when he does the 2 throw, his body does turn towards the camera. So there's that. So just be aware that he does have different animations for all his throws, besides just the outstretched arm concept that every character has. But yeah, you get the idea, right? Just go into practice mode and lab throws like this. Do this drill over and fucking over again for, I don't know, 20 minutes until you feel like you're ready and you can go online and maybe do the same shit. I'm getting fucking eaten alive by these fucking throws right now. Anyways, that's enough. I'm trying to discuss how this works, and while trying to break throws at the same time, it's not as easy as it looks. But that's the drill you want to do. He has a perfect throw game, so if you want to get good at fighting Dragunov, you should deal with his throw game. Use him for the drills because of the 11 frame throws, as we talked about earlier, that he has access to, making it so you can respond to throws quicker because his throws come out faster. So if you can respond to Dragunov's throws, you can respond to pretty much anybody's throws. King's got a couple of cheap-ass 10-frame throws, but besides him, everybody else has 12 to 14-frame throws. So Dragunov is a very unique character in that sense. Now, if you can do the throw drill with him and really lock in and get good at breaking throws, not only will he help you with fighting Dragunov, but it'll help you with fighting everybody in Tekken regardless. Throws will no longer be an issue. So what about his heat stuff? Well, his heat smash is pretty fucking insane. His heat smash is +6 on block, and he also gets an unblockable tackle follow-up at the end there. The only way to deal with the unblockable tackle if you have a hopkick character, you're in fantastic shape. Kazuya doesn't have that. So, you just have to up 3 this shit. If you think he's gonna do the unbreakable tackle, then try to do something that's fast and will interrupt his ass. You can also do down forward 2. Down forward 2 will give you a full counter hit launch, so you can always try that. But in all honesty, like, this is a ridiculous setup that he's got. The unbreakable tackle is very difficult to deal with in a high pressure situation, and but you can deal with his heat smash by sidestepping it left. Only issue is you don't really get a punish afterwards. So very frustrating in that regard. Yeah, it's pretty freaking frustrating. So, yeah, you can sidestep this move, but it's not even really worth it. Because, I mean, it is worth it to avoid the chip damage. It's worth it to avoid the plus frames and potential rush down afterwards that he's going to throw in your face. But sidestepping it left doesn't warrant you or yield you any type of real damage for punishment because he's all the way in fucking Timbuktu and the move's over. Unless there's a wall there, in which case you might have the opportunity for some damage, but his heat smash is crazy. It is pretty ridiculous. So, still needs a little bit of nerfs. You can step in either direction, which is cool because you want to be stepping Dragunov to the right, like I said, unless you're at this range. But, really, if you're at this range, the heat smash and while running 2 are both going to do the same thing virtually. They're going to hit you from fucking far away. So just sidestep left at this range regardless. Range 3 and further on, sidestep left and you're good to go. But, yeah, that's a lot of his pressure tools. Everything that we've discussed so far is basically how Dragunov likes to run his offense. In summary, that's essentially how you deal with the character Dragunov and his main tools. He's got the best jab in the game in terms of hitbox as all around. He has an insane jab hitbox and the best jab range in the game. So just be aware of that when fighting Dragunov as well, because he can jab check you probably before you're able to jab check him. This character has so much going for him that I would say he's still S tier, he's still top 10, and in a lot of ways, he still plays himself. I think he's still one of the most carry characters on the planet in the game right now. Like, Dragunov is fucking ridiculous still. Even after the nerfs, he's still top tier. So, I mean, he's got a wall running 2 that's +4, a heat smash that's +6, and then has an unbreakable tackle after. He's got his hatchet kick still that's +3, you know, and gives a guaranteed hit on counter hit. Then it's got decent tracking. Down 2 is still a great fucking move. Down forward 1 tracks to his bad side. So that's a good down forward 1, you ask me. It's 13 frames. So solid down forward 1 as far as, you know, down forward 1s go. It could be worse. You could have Kazuya's down forward 1. Although it's definitely improved now since the patch, but it's still 15 frame down forward 1. It's not that good. Yeah, all in all, Dragunov is a lot more enjoyable to fight against. And I'm just trying to think of reasons why not to hate him right now. Honestly, he's better to fight against than he was pre-patch 105 or pre-patch 104, I mean. And that's not saying a lot. I mean, he was the worst character to fight against before that patch came out. Now, he's just one of the top 10 worst characters to fight against. But there are worse characters and more annoying characters to deal with than Dragunov. Dragunov is playing some Tekken now. But, I don't know. He could definitely use a few more nerfs. While running 2 should not be tracking in any direction at all. You should not have any tracking with while running 2 at all. Good players will place while running 2 in such a way that the opponent won't be able to read that they're doing the inputs, and they won't be able to see the while running 2 coming because they place it in such an opportune moment, like when they're at +6 or some shit. right? That's when you place the while running 2. More added pressure. Keep up the momentum. Bulldog your opponent to death. While running 2 should be the move that you do after the move that puts your opponent in the position where while running 2 can now be set up. It requires some thought. It requires a little bit of experience with the character and with the game, and with scenarios that the game presents to you. With while running 2 in the scenario that or in the condition that it's in right now, at +4 with tracking to his weak side, that's a bit too good in my opinion. It should not have any tracking at all. It's too strong of a move. The fact that it also launches on counter hit and is a fast mid is bullshit. You know, if it's gonna have all those attributes, get rid of the tracking properties in total. +4 is a great change instead of +6, but while running 2 is too good still. It needs to be toned down. QCF4/Sneak 4 is the same move. That move needs to be heavily toned down. +7 is insane for a mid that's also a heat engager that does crazy damage on hit, that hits grounded, that also is a launcher in heat. Like, it has way too many, and it tracks to the sidestep left quite convincingly. So there isn't a lot of counterplay to that move. And it's ridiculous how that has not been addressed in the patch notes yet, but I guess they want to keep that move in as strong as it is for a little while longer because it's brand new to him and brand new in Tekken 8, but holy fuck, that move is ridiculous. They nerfed the hatchet kick, but they didn't nerf the other hatchet, the hammer kick, whatever the fuck you want to call that. So he still has room for more nerfs. QCF4, while running 2, and I don't know, I mean, they could nerf the tracking on down 2, but then he would just be shit. I'm just picking on him at this point, because I genuinely think that this version of Dragunov sucks ass. As far as, like, the Dragunovs that we've got in Tekken before. This version of Dragunov is fantastic for Tekken 8. But for previous Tekkens, I loved Season 1 Tekken 7 Dragunov way more than this guy that we're looking at right now. So, and he was really strong in that game too. But at least he had valid counterplay. You know, there's a lot of moves that he has now where the counterplay is not as intuitive as it should be, considering how heavily nerfed he got. He's still a very tricky character to fight against. So yeah, you guys voted on this one. I made a poll in the community for what videos you guys want to see next, and which character you want me to see this series, or doing this series on next, and you guys chose Dragunov. So, interesting. There's still quite a few of you. Almost 1,200 votes in that poll altogether, and over 500 of you voted Dragunov. Apparently, there's a lot of people who want to learn how to fight this guy and still don't know how to fight him despite the heavy nerfs that he got. So for anybody who's looking at the screen right now and yelling at me and saying Dragunov's not that fucking carry, you know, he doesn't carry you all that far, he requires a lot more skill, people are just scrubs that don't know what the fuck they're doing. Bro, I feel you love your character Dragunov, I'm just as passionate about Kazuya, but there's hundreds of people just in my channel alone that wanted to fucking learn how to fight this guy. So he's not that intuitive, apparently, according to hundreds of other people. Just because you think he's easy and not that difficult to counterplay does not mean it's the case. So, you know, simmer down, Dragunov mains. I have a few notes here to wrap up the video just to see, you know, can we nerf him anymore? And what could he use? So what could he benefit from? So I got hatchet kick should stop hitting grounded at all angles, and pretty much should have zero tracking at all. You know, if down 2 already tracks well to both sides, why the fuck does the hatchet kick track at all? That move should not be used as a tracking move, as a tracking low, if down 2 exists. Down back 3+4 should be used as his power low when he gets a read on the opponent and wants to continue momentum. It should be a momentum building low because he remains standing and he's at +3. That's a momentum building low. That's what it's supposed to be used for. It should not have tracking. That's fucking stupid. I know Kazuya's down back 4 has tracking, but that's one of his only tracking moves. He's got 0 tracking to sidestep left for his entire fucking move list. So don't for 1 second use that as an argument, because that's his one tracking move, and Dragunov has several tracking moves, as we talked about already, that track to his weak side. What else we got? while running 2, I said no more tracking, and back 1 plus 2, I want back 1 plus 2 to be plus 3 on block, not plus 6. I think plus 6 is fucking stupid, because you're only going to use it at the wall. Anytime you block a back 1 plus 2, you're just forced to just chill at the fucking wall at minus 6, and especially if you're in the corner, you're totally fucked. You're minus 6, you're in the corner, you got Dragunov in your fucking face. It's such a bullshit, dumbass, play itself kind of fucking move. Back 1 plus 2, hate that fucking move. Plus 3 is what it should be. QCF4 should be plus 4 on block, not plus 7. You should be able to sidestep it in any direction, and it shouldn't hit grounded. Those are the nerfs that I think Dragunov should retain, or should hopefully something like that happens for him in the future, because he's honestly a bit too much of a character still. So he's a little bit too strong in my opinion. Now, I know he's not winning any tournaments. He's not top 8ing anywhere. As far as, the big ones go. He's top 8ing in some dojo events. He's top 8ing still in some challengers. So he's not, completely dead, obviously, in the tournament scheme. But it's also a little bit early to tell. We haven't seen too many tournaments with as many nerfs as he's had now to really measure the case and say, okay, well, here's the data we've collected. Dragunov's made 0 top 8 appearances in tournaments from, the May patch onwards to September or November or whatever the fuck. Once we have that sample size, we'll then be able to say, okay, Dragunov he needs to be buffed or needs to be nerfed. But until then, as far as I'm concerned, he still seems like a top tier fucking character to me, and he still has pretty damn good tournament appearance and challenger events from what I've seen after the nerfs he's got. So, fuck it, man. Give him more nerfs. I don't know. Maybe I'm a Dragunov hater. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe, like this fucking video, share it around. It really helps the algorithm out. You guys have been really enjoying the content lately, and I'm super happy for that. But, I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, so, fucking hit that sub button and watch my other videos on the channel. And hopefully you enjoy it. Keep rocking out and keep gaming.